What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today we're going to deconstruct my song Double Down. So if you guys haven't watched the YouTube channel, we have our series Deconstructed Inspired by Genius, where I show you guys how I make the beat for all the music I make. Today we're going to be doing my song Double Down off of my new album Strangers in the Dark. If you guys haven't heard this song or the album yet, we got a link in the description. Definitely encourage you guys to go listen to that. Definitely encourage you to check it out, but you don't have to before you watch the rest of the video. If you guys haven't watched any of the other Deconstructeds, you probably don't know, but all of this album was made using songs sampled through TRYIN. So we're just going to get started today. We're also going to end up splitting this video into two parts since we have the beat change at the end. So we're just going to be attacking the first part of the beat today. So that being said, we're just going to start with the sample here. So the sample for the first part of this song is from a group called Phase 7. I remember while I was scrolling through TRYIN, just kind of digging for samples as I normally do. Something that kind of interesting that kind of drew me to that specific sample. In some of the rhythm roulette videos I do, I kind of talk a lot about how like the album art is a lot of times what really draws me, to a sample or, a record, especially, in that case, not hearing the song. Like I said, I love, the aesthetics, the album art, the design, all that stuff. So this sample has a really cool album art where, they took the 7-Up logo and then they kind of flipped it into their name, being Phase 7. So I thought it was really unique, and it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They did their own take on it. So it was a pretty simple album art other than that, but I thought it was just kind of unique, them kind of, flipping that logo. So that's what kind of drew me to this sample, and then obviously, the song is cool. I love the sample, so we'll just get into it here. So the sample that's kind of the majority of this song here is this section, and then we also have kind of an intro section, which I won't play, but so it's going to be this section here. So something that I really love about that sample, I'll tell you about the effects I put on it. But I thought it really just reminded me a lot of, like you say, that classic hip hop sound that I was really trying to emulate and do my own take on. So I thought it really just kind of fit that, sounded like, something, Kanye or someone would use. So what I did for processing there is I pitched it up 4 semitones. And then, we also have an EQ on there. We cut out the lows. Something I do a lot on my samples, to create room, for the 808 in the bass. And also, I think it also just creates a, kind of that sampled feel a little bit more where, it's maybe not the greatest quality, it's not super clean or whatever. Which, like I say, this is an older song, I love sampling older music anyway. But, this is an older song, so it kind of already has that characteristic. So, that's the foundation for pretty much all of the second and third verse here. We'll get into the drums here. So, first element we'll talk about for the drums is this drum break. Again, just kind of a classic, hip hop technique, adding a drum break to a sample. So we have this drum break here. What I ended up doing though with this one is I add halftime to the drum break. The original drum break was just a little too fast. So this one I add halftime to it, just kind of slow it down. I'll play you guys the drum break here. Something that I really love about that, I threw the halftime on it, which, like I say, slows the sample down, makes it a little more, moody, darker. It really just made the sample feel a lot more grimy. Reminded me of just like, maybe some Mobb Deep or something like that. So I really love that drum break, I thought really had kind of drove the rest of the drum selection here. So next thing we'll do here is we'll go with some hi-hats. So we got this hi-hat here. We'll play you guys that. So, pretty straightforward. We messed with the velocities just a little bit. If you listen to the song, this hi-hat here, it starts out in the verse. It's that fast pace that I just played. And then, in the second half of the verse there, it goes to like, a little slower. Just, to change the energy in the beat a little bit so it doesn't get too repetitive. And also, I think it makes that first section when it was faster kind of hit a little better. So we got that there. Those are the main hi-hats. Didn't really do a ton of like hi-hat layers on this one, which in a lot of beats I have. Next we got a bunch of open hats. So I'll play all of those together. So actually, kind of funny here. I guess I labeled it wrong, or maybe I just forgot what it was. So first element here, we have this open hi-hat. We'll just say that was all kind of percussion layers there. So we got the open hi-hat there, going into the snare, and we got some hi-hat rolls there as well. So one of them, this one here is with the higher pitched hi-hat. And then we got this other one here, which is lower. So again, I love adding percussion to my drums, just adding some different elements to keep it interesting there. So we got some hi-hat rolls and the open hat. Next here we have some toms I'll play you. No processing on either of those. So we got some toms there. Also a note here, this whole album was mixed and mastered by my boy Shane. Make sure to show Shane some love down in the comments there. That being said, some of the stems might sound a little different from the original song, but make sure to show him some love. Killed it for me on every song for this album. So next element here we're gonna go with is the snare. So this is from a Brockhampton inspired drum kit. Supposedly it's from their song Gold or inspired by it. So I'll play you guys the snare. So something I did with this, with the snare pattern here, again, a lot of times with the sample, I really try to emulate what was happening in the original sample with the drums. So that's kind of what I did here a little bit. The original sample had, I kind of tried to emulate, kind of those little snare rolls, especially, with the drum break I added on there. So I tried to kind of merge all that together, kind of what was going on in all those, and, just kind of, update it with the modern, snare there. Next element here is we just got this clap that I layered on top of the snare just to, add another little ear candy. We got some reverb on that as well. And then last element here is just going to be a kick. So we got EQ on it, and then this kick is a little different. Normally, I try to go for more of a modern, punchy kick. This one is more of a little bit of a old school, like 90s style kick. It comes from like more of a vintage drum kit. So, a little bit more old school, a little more warm, which I felt really fit, with the sample and, the drum break and such like that. So those are all the drum elements here. We'll play you guys the bass here. So we got two different basses that we've kind of mixed and layered into one. So we got a sub, and then we got this OBX bass one shot. I use this one shot a lot on my album Uphill From Here, which came out a while ago last year. But I haven't really used it much since. This is probably the last beat I've used it on. It's a really nice bass, but I always am trying to push myself to use different sounds and such. So we got EQ, we got Lil Magma on it, which is just like a saturation plugin, distortion, and we got Max Bass on there as well, which again is sort of a compressor distortion type thing. EQ, bunch of stuff kind of filed together. All I know is it sounds good. But so we combine those two together, and we got this bass sound. So, we got kind of a synth style bass there where, it's got those long sustained notes. But another thing I really like about those two sounds mixed together is it still has a little touch of attack at the beginning where it's got a little punch when it comes in, nice little transient, which is nice. But it's still got that long sustained, kind of feel. So, which is very nice there. So like I said at the beginning of the video, since this song has a beat change, we're going to be breaking it into two parts. So that is all for part one. If you guys haven't listened to this song or my new album, Strangers in the Dark, definitely encourage you guys to check that out. Appreciate anyone who listens to my music. It means a lot to me. That is going to be all for this episode. Stay tuned for part two. Thanks for watching. Peace.